Ayana, and welcome to Everything Grows, where we talk about growing from where we are. Today we have Miss Erica Harrell from Build Then Fly. Me and Miss Erica, I'm already getting started. Me and Erica have known each other for a long time. She actually worked in the school that I attended, taught my younger sister, transitioned into a principal situation, and then we ended up being co-workers at some point, and then both transitioning out of the space. So welcome, Erica.
Hey, Ayana. Thank you. Thank you for having me. I am so excited and honored and just I'm proud of you and I'm excited to be here and to catch up and chat. And yeah, just thank you for having me. I was excited when you sent me a DM. I was like, yes, I'll be on your podcast. So
Yes, and I have her on here because she is by profession now a project manager. Is
yeah.
that correct? But
Yes,
we know you
yes.
are very multifaceted. So we're
Hey,
looking
I have gone through a bunch of different things that I'm sure we can talk about. But yes, now where I sit is a project manager. Yes.
yes. So I want to talk about the first question is what is project management at the most basic level?
Yeah, so the most basic idea of project management is when you have a goal that you want to achieve in a set amount of time with set restraints or constrictions. And so, like, sometimes folks will think project management is something like ongoing, which it can be an ongoing process within an organization. But really, the act of project management is a team, and even an individual, but most of the time a team coming around a common goal, and working towards that goal given restraints like time, like budget, resources. How do we achieve this goal in a set amount of time?
And does everyone need project management?
I mean, I personally use it in all the things. Like, okay, we're project managing my son's fifth birthday party. Here we go, because we have a date for that. We're all working together. So, I mean, I think you can use the project management strategies, tools, processes in all things. And I personally, one of the reasons in which I found myself gravitating to project management besides experiences that like led me here is because I feel strongly about how you do the work is just as important as the work you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So project management gives you a structured way of how, a structured way that like allows you to, avoid burnout and move with clarity, and efficiency. And so I think that it's great for everyone to use project management, everyone to have project management, because then you're not just focused on what you're doing, you also have a strategy, a structure for how you're doing it.
Yes, and I agree. On my page, when I was looking at your page, you said digestible and actionable plans, and I think that's the biggest thing because sometimes people like me, I'm a broad thinker. I can see like overhead, like what people say overhead. You can look and you can see the big picture, but you don't necessarily see the steps that it takes in order for you to get there. So I want to ask, how important is it for people to plan? Like as you've seen through all of your different positions and roles up until this point, how important is it for you for people to plan in order to have a successful, end goal or end project?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's easy to have a goal and say, like, I'm going to reach this goal. Like, that is we all have to start there, right? And to your point about like seeing the big picture, most people have some level of visionary inside of them. There are some people who like are very visionary and they don't even want to think about any details. And there's some people who want to think mostly about the details, but you have to have a vision, you have to have a goal. And from there, it's important to not just like stop there, because a lot of things can happen if you just have this vision. Like, one, you underestimate the work that it's going to take. And that's what I see as like a big thing, from a lot of visionaries. It's like, I'm going to launch a podcast. Let's just say that because we're here. And they're
Right.
like,
No,
I'm going to
really.
do that next month. And I'm like, okay, bring it back. Let's just pause for a minute. Like, really let's think about all that it takes to achieve that
Mhm.
goal. Is the next month realistic? So like a lot of underestimating is a huge thing, and that then will like cause you to like burn out or say forget about it because you're like, I said I was going to do this next month, and then next month comes and it's not done because you didn't have a plan. um, and so you're like, this is just not achievable. And that's not true. It's just that you haven't broken it down yet. And so I think that is like probably the number one thing, is underestimating the amount of time. And then from there, a lot of stuff can happen. But with, you obviously can execute without a plan. We do
Mhm.
it all the time. But when it comes to like a big, ambitious goal or a goal that a team is working together on, having a plan um, increases the likelihood of achieving that goal because you have thought through it more clearly. You can check your progress along the way because you have something to check towards. If you're just going without a plan, you have nothing to check towards. And so, yeah, I think that making sure that your plan is tight before you start. That's why the name of my business is Build Then Fly,
Yeah.
because oftentimes we try to build while flying, and
Mhm.
a lot of like messiness can come in there. So let's build and then be able to fly.
I like that. I like that a lot. We're gonna go back to that name because
Okay.
that's new.
Hmm.
I love it.
That's new. Yes.
And then I wanted to one word that I wrote down was security. So I want to talk about that. So there's security in having a plan. There's security in knowing what you're going to do, knowing what steps, and also what she said about actionable. And I also want to put in holding people accountable, holding yourself
Hmm.
accountable, and holding those around you accountable. Because when we
Yeah.
work in a group, some people might have things to do, and you might not be able to do what you need to do until this
Yeah.
person does what they
Right.
need to do.
Right.
So it
Yeah.
helps with the flow.
Yeah. I literally am. I'm working with one team who is like, it's all Black women. It is like
Mhm.
top tier. Like we get ish done and get it done well. And like the results are resulting. It's like a really strong team. And it's holiday season, there's a lot going on. We just like ran Black Friday sales, like new is a new thing that we did. Um, and there were a few things like balls dropped, deadlines not met. And I
Mhm.
could speak to it so much more easily. It was so clear that everybody that the deadlines weren't met because there was a plan. And it was like
Right.
literally in the plan, red, like because now we have project management tools. So it's like,
Mhm.
okay, this is not done, versus like without your plan, you're kind of like shooting in the dark. You like have to make assumptions that they knew, but it's like, no, everybody knew, like your name was there on the date. And there was, no bad, it was just like a, what happened? Can we support?
Right.
But like, you can't do that as easily, and you can't make strong leadership moves if you don't have that plan in place where everyone can be held accountable, because everybody knows, it's super obvious that everyone knows. And the way in which you project management, you should have checkpoints along the way where people are agreeing to it, essentially. It's not like an obvious like, yes, I agree, but like you have a kickoff call, you give them time to give feedback, like different steps along the project management process, that
Mhm.
it's not like this was given to you, last minute, or you didn't agree to this, or you didn't know. There was many points along the way. So yeah, definitely that accountability piece. And accountability, I think we think as like a negative thing, and it's not. It's there to support and to help the group and the individual to be successful.
Mhm. And for you, because I was about to say Miss Erica, I have always seen you as a very like detail oriented person. I've never felt like I looked at you and was like, she don't know what she's doing. It's just maybe crazy, but I know that you at least know what you're doing as far as leadership. But
Mhm.
I would say, what is maybe some advice you have for people who aren't necessarily comfortable with being responsible, or just have some type of, like some people just have issues with being responsible for themselves or the things that they do. Do you have any advice for that?
Yeah, I mean, are you more wondering like you have something new, you're in a new leadership role and you're not like how
I
do you
think
fully own that, or
in
like just
general,
in general?
I think
Okay.
in general, because that's even me. Like I realized coming, I'm 20, I'm about to be 27. So I know like at this point, I know, right? But I know at this point, it's like be responsible for myself
Mm-hmm.
in a
Mm-hmm.
fully different way. It's like nobody's
Yeah.
gonna come check after me, but just like that, like kind of like just stepping up to the plate in life
Yeah.
in general. But you can also, if it's not
Yeah.
the same, it work too.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think like the biggest thing for me in that area is just like I always have had something I'm working towards.
Mhm.
And whether that's like when I first became, well, let's even talk about college. Like I wanted to be a teacher.
And
I was working towards getting into Teach for America. I knew I wanted to get into Teach for America. So like not to say I wasn't doing certain things because I enjoyed them or was passionate. I was making sure like those two things I was working to try to find alignment. And sometimes I was not in alignment, but like let's try to find it. So like I became the president of an organization because I knew that like this organization meant something to me. It was the Multiracial Biracial Student Association. Like that meant something to me personally because that was the first time I had found a group like that in coming out of college or into college. And I knew being the president would look good for Teach for America and give me good experience to like lead a classroom later if I'm leading the student organization. So that was like in service of that. Once I got into TFA, I always said I want to be a principal. So like I was like, I know I have to be a great teacher. Let me take moves to be a great teacher. So in that, my first year was a struggle, but my coach was telling me to do stuff and like I did fully, like I played out fully. Like there was no half stepping. Whatever she told me to do, I did it to the very best of my ability because like I knew I had to be a great teacher to be a principal. When I decided it was time for me to transition out of leadership in a school setting, I knew I wanted to get a remote role. So I started like reaching out to my network. So like I always had a goal and
Mhm.
everything. I personally like view my journey as like sculpture, like making a sculpture. So I've never sculpted. Like I don't really know how to do this, but like in my mind, sculpting is like you chip away at it, right? Like you have like the like chisel and like
Yep.
little mallet or hammer. I have no idea. I might be using the wrong terms. I hope there's no artists out there that are like,
Right.
what is she talking about? Okay, okay. So this is my analogy that's like life in general is like I am just chipping away at my sculpture. So like every move I make, whether it's large or big, and like most of the big moves are just a series of small moves, are
Mhm.
getting me to like my sculpture that I'm creating. And my sculpture might be changing, but everything's chipping away. So I February 2024, I went full time in my business, and that had been a goal of mine for a while. And so every step I took was like chipping away at that. Okay, so first I was going to get a remote role because I would have more space to like work on my business when I'm not traveling to work and things like that. Once I got that remote role, I realized like, okay, this role has a lot of meetings and I might not have as much time. So let me look for a role that has even more space and more flexibility. That's I achieved that. Then I was in that role and I was like, okay, this is how I'm going to shift. So all those small movements got me to my goal. And it was just like chipping away at it, chip away, chip away. So I think to take personal responsibility for me feels easier because I'm always working towards something.
Mhm.
And so I feel like if I'm not taking action, and not to say I haven't, maybe I'm not great at it, but like rest and all of that is definitely important. But like if I'm not taking intentional steps towards my goal, I um, like that feels harder to me than taking the action, if that makes sense.
Makes sense. It makes sense. And what I wrote down is get serious about your goals and be intentional. So what I
Mm-hmm.
heard was that you were serious about everything that you wanted to do, and through that you um, allowed it to happen. I also want to ask how much of your transitions have kind of been like magical, or like it just seemed like it kind of
Mm.
was like, okay, maybe this does make sense that I should be doing it.
Yes, that is a great question. I will say there's definitely been some magic that happened in my transitions.
Mm-hmm.
However, I'll want to, I don't know if it's a 50-50 split, but like I'll give you the example that you will understand because it's the school that we met at. Um, always said I want to be a principal. I want to be a principal. I did my 3 years at Teach for America, and then I transitioned to the DC area and worked for 1 year at the school that we met at, and literally a few months into that was asked to support opening up the elementary school in a leadership role. And that was like a shocker to me. But so that felt magical. But also when I look back, as I shared, like I had always had this goal and I was taking steps along the way. So I feel like, you know, in my experience and the way I kind of approach is like, I'm going to continue to like do my part, but I'm going to be open to the fact that like other things might come up. And like, so that one felt like I wasn't ready. Like I didn't know that was going to happen at that point. I didn't apply. I didn't ask for that in that way, but I wanted it. But an opposite example, I don't know if it's opposite, but different, is most recently when I went full time in my business, I literally set the meeting and said, you know, I'm no longer going to be an employee. However, here's a proposal to be a contractor. And that was accepted. So like that was more like me doing the work, but it was accepted. And so that's also feels magical, right? Like in terms of, someone else accepting and approving that. So I think there's like a balance for me in terms of do the work, set the intention, pursue the goal you have, but also because most of the time when you're doing that, you are interacting with other people and they might see something in you or they might support your work faster or in different ways than you had even imagined.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that because that's how I was when I was younger. I said that I wanted to work for my middle school. I said I wanted to work for a Boys and Girls Club, and then I said I wanted to work for. I think that was it. It was just my middle school, my Boys and Girls Club. But I thought that this would happen when I was like old. Right. I'm like, right. But it happened so fast that now I'm at the opportunity where I'm like, okay, I got to see what I wanted to do next, which I ultimately know what I want to do, public speaking, things like that. I know what I want to do, but I think that there was part of my mind that stuck to a plan that I already had. And I want to ask you about that as well. Like veering away from a plan that you already had and kind of being comfortable or giving yourself the confidence to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because did you ever see yourself being an entrepreneur?
Well, so so I feel like I've always had entrepreneurial spirit because I think to be a good teacher, you need to build, you need to sell, you need to build, like it is very entrepreneurial in my opinion. So I think like that, the way in which I move has typically been entrepreneurial. But I will say when you first shared that, my goal, and as a kid, I wanted to be a teacher. Then like when I got older, I'm like, I'm going to be a principal. And when I became a principal, I was like, this is not for me. Like this role just doesn't, to your point, like I'm very detailed. I'm not like, I dream, I have vision, but like, I don't like to sit there. Like I like to like have the dream, have the vision, then like plan it and get to work. And like some of that is definitely the role of a principal, but I think the principal more so just doesn't fit my personality. And so it took me a minute to feel okay with that. Like I was letting something go. I was letting myself down. Like I had a lot of emotions around like, but you said you wanted to do this and like, you should stick with it and like get better. Cause I do feel like to the point to like this podcast name, like I feel like growth is something that I do well and that I strive towards. I'm like, I can grow, I can improve, I can do better. I'm maybe too optimistic sometimes. So like, like you can do it. And like sometimes quitting is doing it. Like sometimes quitting is growth. Or sometimes like letting something go is growth. And so like it took me a minute to have that that mindset around it. A great book, if you feel like you did not achieve a goal but you want to move on from it, Failing Forward is a really good book that actually Miss Wright shared with me. And so I read that book and did a lot of reflection and did a lot of like self-improvement in that way to just be like, it's okay. And I think the other piece of advice around just like having the confidence to do is I say this all the time. So the role that my last role that I left before going full time, I actually wasn't in a project management role, although I was doing project management in this role. But I was a business coach essentially to educators starting their ed consulting businesses. And I would always say to them, action breeds clarity. Like, and I would add today that action breeds clarity and confidence. And so, like, when you feel like you're not confident, my response is like, do it. Like, I know that sounds crazy because you're like, I need to get confident first before I can do it. And it's like, actually, no, you need to do it scared, do it afraid. And as you do it, you'll be confident. I'm sure maybe not, but like this podcast, the first episode might have felt really scary. And now, like, I don't know how you feel internally, but you just showed up and you seem really confident. You seem very relaxed and calm and like, and that probably wasn't the exact same way you showed up on your first episode. And so I just say do it. And so like for me launching my business, I I to this day I still do this, but I did this very I like went hard with this in the beginning was challenges. Like I challenged myself to show up on Instagram every single day for 30 days. And I got to one point where I like posted 3 times a day for a month because I was like, this is just going to push me. And like, I'm nervous about this. And like, I just did it. And so I think action breeds confidence and clarity is a way to approach, uh, building confidence.
Yeah, I needed that. I needed that because that's definitely how I've been feeling about my podcast and everything grows as an entity. Definitely being more action focused, and I think just the biggest thing is if it setting too short goals, like you said in the beginning, saying I'm going to launch something next month when it's like you don't even have a plan or just trying to go so far because I know that my brain works very fast. I can pick up anything so fast.
Yeah.
But in that I do miss steps, so I don't feel. That's why I wrote the word security earlier. I don't feel the security or the confidence in myself to get it done because I'm just like rushing through, making something, and then okay, let me get it out. But in actually just taking a moment, taking a step back, and having a plan, even though I'm nervous within my plan, I can still take the actions because I know it's like you get what I'm saying with my brain.
Right. Exactly.
Take actions without being afraid of what you need to do. Like maybe you might need to make some small decisions, but in that action, just do it anyway. I need that because I'm nervous.
Yeah, and I think the like one step further, everything you just said, and what I would say for you to do too is give yourself 30 minutes, an hour, it could be 15 minutes, but like every week, sit down and reflect on the previous week because plans are so big and plans often are month long or even more than or 3 month long plans. And we lose sight of the work that we're doing or not doing on a week to week basis. And so every single week you create your plan and every single week you sit down and say, what did I do this week? I need to celebrate that because we oftentimes like forget that like day to day and week to week actions add up. And so like let's celebrate even the smallest of things. Like, okay, you want to do public speaking this week, you researched you found 3 conferences that are like actually ones that you could speak at. That's a huge thing to celebrate. You're a step further. Next week, now you just have to draft the event, and so reflect and celebrate, and then plan for the next week. Like put things on your calendar and see what's feasible. Because again, we over plan and we say we can get all this done in a week, and then we're disappointed because we don't. Put 1 or 2 things for the next week. So yeah, I definitely agree, and you're not alone because often I think a lot of the ways in which like what I speak to and how I project management, I think really works for high achieving women because we like you said, we're smart. We can do a lot. We can pick things up fast and go. And it's like sometimes we need to just like slow down, put the plan on paper, reflect on the work we've done, give ourselves grace, celebrate ourselves, and then move forward.
Yes, I think a plan definitely brings ease, and I can feel it
Mhm.
within myself when I know what I'm going to do throughout the day,
Yeah.
opposed to me because I'm remote now as well, mainly remote, and there's a different aspect in being remote because you don't have anybody around you, so
Yeah.
you have to
Yep.
make sure that you do your work, you stay on task, and try to do your
Yeah.
very best. Because I've had times where I've been sitting in here like.
Yeah. I'm just home. Okay, like I'll just get a snack. That's my go-to. Okay, let me get a snack.
I don't think it's anything going on. Let me just walk around or something. But
Yeah.
I did want to move into when you talk to people about their projects and about their plans, advising others, or some people might take it as a critique, and we just might be feeling like we're discussing something. So,
Hmm.
how do
Hmm.
you feel? How has that been with giving people insights on what they have going on? Maybe if they are agreeable or they might have pushback. How has that dynamic been for you?
Yeah, it's funny because like I haven't experienced that in a long time.
Mhm.
And part of that is because, and part of like me wanting my own business was because of that. And not just because of that, but like part of it was like, I want to work with people who are like ready to do the work, right? And so I don't necessarily get a lot of pushback from folks because um, people are hiring me to like help them, and they're like, "Yes, please, Erica, tell me what to do." I will say it's similar, and like I do have to give people hard feedback of like this timeline is too short.
Mhm.
Um, one of my clients right now, we're in a really good like process. We're coming up on almost a year of me project managing for them. So a lot of structures are in place and things like that. And for them, it's actually the opposite, where I'm like, um, you all have more time to get these tasks done. So like, let's get things done early, and like they're like pushing back in that way. So I will say like for them, um, I try to find a balance between like, okay, I suggested we get it done 2 weeks early. You guys want to get it done like 2 days or 3 days before. I'm like, okay, so we're gonna do a week. And when some ish happens where like the week wasn't enough, then
Mhm.
we'll revisit this. So sometimes I feel like it's like coming to a compromise, especially if you're in like a consulting role versus like you're the leader. I mean, even if you're the leader, it might be powerful to come to a compromise because like, you're working with adults and everyone has their opinion and experiences. And so coming to a compromise and then letting it play out and going from there has been kind of what I've been doing in this stage in life, because I don't get a lot of like strong pushback. Because a lot of people are just like, okay, create like some of
They know
my
you don't
projects.
need.
Yeah, some of my projects are like, I'm just creating it full out for them and then they execute it. So,
Okay, I like that. I like that. And dang, my brain I just had a brain fart.
okay.
Because we were talking about, oh my goodness, I literally just had a brain fart. I should have wrote it down. That's why my little
That's
paper is
right.
all
I
beat up.
understand. I have to
I'm
write
like,
everything down.
oh, that's what I wanted to talk about. When people are feeling that need to rush, what do you have to maybe say to them about the other
Mm.
side of that?
Yes. Oh my gosh, I love this. I love this analogy. So I used to do productivity with ease workshops.
Mhm.
I might need to bring it back, but in the workshop, I always talk about this analogy or this like image. So like,
Mhm.
because for me, I find that the need to rush often comes from a wanting to get somewhere faster, and also a fear of inconsistency, of like, I just want to do this really quickly because I don't, to your point, I don't trust myself to like be disciplined and consistent with something over amount of time. So like, let's get it done fast because I either want the results fast, and I think that getting the results, that me like rushing will get the results faster, which isn't always true. A
Mhm.
lot of times getting the results happens when you slow down, and then you can execute on a like steady, steady like cadence. So this image I always talk about is like, okay, imagine you have a dot like a row of dots. Every single time you do something or you work towards a goal, you fill in a dot. So like you can just think of it easily as like every day, right? Monday you fill in your dot, Tuesday you fill in your dot, Wednesday you fill in your dot, so on and so forth. And um, let's say you miss a day because you're inconsistent or because you decide to slow down and you don't want to rush towards something. And then you miss another day. So now these dots are empty and you're looking at these dots and you're like, oh my gosh, I gotta keep going. I have to rush. I can't pause. I can't slow down. Like I can't miss a day because then I'm gonna mess up. Well, what I encourage people to do is like don't view these dots so close up. Instead, zoom out. And when you zoom out, even if you miss a day or 2 days or even 7 days, and I'm just using days, it might not be days, it might be a week, a month, that is still going to form a straight line towards your goals. We typically get in our head and we say we have to do stuff so fast or we can't pause or we can't take a break. And honestly, in the grand scheme of life, like you're zoomed out, you're still getting to where you want to go. Like I trying to think of an example. Fitness, right? Like I have achieved what'd you say?
I said yes, fitness.
Right. For many of us, right? I have achieved fitness goals. I was just telling someone yesterday, I used to teach Pure Barre. I don't know if you know Pure Barre. If you don't know it, look it up. Especially if you're a woman, it's really good for our bodies and it's low impact. But anyways, I used to teach Pure Barre.
Low impact don't mean easy, y'all. I just want y'all to know that.
It's hard. It's so hard. It's like torture at some points, but it's good hard. It's a good hard.
Yeah. Yes.
So I used to teach Pure Barre and I was a Pure Barre, but I still am. I just have not been because I had a baby 6 months ago, had to stop all that. But anyways, I first time ever being able to do like full body push-ups. First time ever not having cellulite on my legs, like from Pure Barre, right? And did I go to Pure Barre every single day? No. Were there weeks where I was like, oh damn, I haven't been here all week. Like, what am I doing? Like, absolutely. But I still achieved those goals. Like I still was at probably the best fitness of my life after going consistently for a few years, but like not every single day. But it was just like, if you keep at this, if this just becomes a part of who you are, it doesn't feel like you're rushing and it feels like you can it's okay if you miss a day, it's okay if you miss a week, like just pick back up. So I don't know, I feel like that is a roundabout long answer to like why to stop rushing, but I think like just zoom out the grand scheme of life, it'll be okay. And honestly, rushing typically means more mistakes and it means like taking a longer time to get to the goal, even though that seems counterintuitive. You feel like if I do this fast, I'll get there fast. Not always.
Yes, and doing things when you say that you're going to do them, or even trying to come back and get into your commitment, builds trust within yourself.
Right.
A lot of us don't really trust ourselves to do the things that we say that we're going to do. So that also adds to the commitment as well. Like keep on doing. And I do. I'm a yoga person. And I know when I don't go back, that body starts slipping on something.
You're like, okay, I know I need to go. I can feel it.
You just be all rickety trying to figure out what you're gonna do. Yes, learning to trust yourself. Yeah. I've gotten back on my mat a couple times and been like, "Ooh, okay, we need to try this again."
Yes.
But and within that as well, exercising and move your body. We can go on and on about exercising and moving your body because it helps your mind. It helps everything. So that's part of it as well. It helps your mind, body, soul, enthusiasm, everything.
It really does.
You have to move daily, even if it's just a small walk. I'm gonna just put that in there because you gotta move. So I do want to talk about your transition for your name. So we knew we were Erica Harrell Consulting at one point, and then one day I saw a paper airplane and a
So you were
paper
like,
plane.
what is happening?
I love it. I love it because it makes so much sense. Can you talk to us about your transition?
Yeah, so I started my business in 2021, January 2021, and I had no idea what I was just like, I know I want to work for myself. I know it'll start off as ed consulting because I have been in education for 13 years. Um, but I don't know what it's going to be. And this whole like conversation about confidence, I was lacking quite a bit of confidence at that point. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to make it my name because I don't know what the topic will be, but like I know it's going to be me and I know I am going to do this. Like I'm going to 100% believe in myself and make this happen. So Erica Harrell Consulting it is, period. Like it was just like an easy, I don't know if it was an easy decision, but it was just like like decided, done, I need to check this off the box, like check this
Yeah.
task off the list and like move forward to like, what am I actually going to sell?
No,
And
that's the tip. Do it
so
anyway.
like, yeah, like don't take people, logos and all. No. And I went, so Erica Harrell Consulting, I went into Canva. I searched like logo template. I said, put an E, H, and a C, and it was done. Like, this color looks good. Moving on. We don't have time for this. Like, I need to get money, right? Like, I'm a business. That is where I need to spend my
Get
time.
to the important stuff.
Yes, get to the important stuff. So, when did I transition? I guess it was maybe like the beginning of this year.
Mhm.
I so okay, Erica Health Consulting was born. I started to support people with professional development because that was like what was top of mind for me and like probably the number one thing within education leadership that I had strong results around and enjoyed doing. Like putting those two things together was leading professional development. Summer Institute was like my thing. I love Summer Institute and planning for it. Again, going back to project management and planning, like that's why I actually liked it, not because of the PD. Now that I'm reflecting, it was like my thing because like it was a 4-week long project. Like we had all these different people and I was like coordinating who's moving where and doing what. That's why. But so we did professional develop, or I supported folks with designing their professional development packages. I started to like slowly put in some like productivity offers into my business and like just see what people liked or needed or wanted. And then I started to realize like, oh, I've been project managing. Like this is actually what I really like to do. And actually, one of my current clients had a project manager that was not doing well, and I was like, this is easy. Like just do boom, 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 boom. Like this could be fixed in like 10 minutes. Like I just felt like,
Puzzle brain.
yes, right. I was like, what is happening? Like I just wish she would just let me do it, and now she does. But like that was the big transition to like, okay, I have been project managing forever, pretty much, and it comes easily to me, and I really enjoy it. So we're going to move forward with project management and like kind of let the PD stuff go. And I kept the Erica Harrell Consulting, but I don't even honestly remember how Build Then Fly came to me, but I know it's because actually I do know. I was doing an interview for a contract that I ultimately ended up getting. And in that interview, I said, as it was for a former educator in his business. So he was looking for a project manager for his business. And in the interview, I said, oftentimes in education, we try to build the plane while flying. And my goal as a project manager is to help you to build and then fly. And I was like, oh, that was good. Like, sometimes you hear people have quotes. And I was like, okay, let me rewind that and listen to my own quote. And, but I was like, that's it. Like, that is because, like I said, I like helping people like with their mission and like I want to work for organizations that are trying to do good in the world. And I think that like so many people don't achieve their goals and so many organizations struggle because how they're trying to reach their goals is just like a mess. Like it's just a mess. And so I'm like, let's stop trying to build while flying and like let's just like all be okay, even in America in a capitalistic society where like, you know, white supremacy culture says we need to be urgent about everything. Like, let's all just slow down a minute, build something, and then fly it, so that we're not burning ourselves out, so that we're not stressed out, so that we're not getting overwhelmed, and then we don't get to our goals. Like, let's just take a breather and build and then fly. So
Right.
that's where it came from. Thank you for forcing me to reflect on that.
I love that, because a lot of us, we do just, go in and just hit stuff head on, or not really pay attention to the process within it and appreciate and have, gratitude. We talk about the small moments, but having gratitude for those moments where we might not have known what was going on and it just clicked at one point.
Yeah.
And if you slow down, sometimes it could click. You could have more reflection, have your brain work. I love when my brain works.
Yes. Yes. And I think I went to a like New Year's Eve, not New Year's Eve, but like a New Year party with some of my friends and some people that I didn't know, and we were like just all going around. It was like a vision board, like did we make vision boards? I don't remember, but it was more of like a vision board, like, yeah, like talk about the new year. And one woman who I had just met that night, I, shared that one of my goals, this was a couple years ago, was to like slow down and to build then fly, essentially. Like, one of my goals was like to stop, working in urgency and last minute and like that type of things. And when someone said, she was like, well, I'm a lawyer, and I personally have been super successful with like working under pressure and like thinking about like all-nighters you pulled in college, right? And
Your
I
body.
right, right. And like I don't want to make anyone feel like the way in which they're working is not right, because everybody is different. And I work really good under pressure too. I've been in some big high pressure situations, and like I can stay very calm and get stuff done and do what needs to be done. But like, is that the best, like you said, for your body, for
No.
your mental health,
Mhm.
for your emotional health? Like, I personally don't think so. And I think that we're forced to believe that that's how we should work for most. I can go into like my own theories and like whatever, but I think like we actually would be so much more successful if we feel like we have space to
I
think
agree.
and to breathe and to like be creative. Because like when you're working last minute, the creativity is like maybe something might pop into your head, but like maybe if you worked on it for an hour and then let it breathe for a couple of days and came back to it for another hour and then came back in 2 weeks, like if you had that time versus like I'm a rush to get this done because the deadline is tomorrow,
Mhm. Yeah.
so yeah, I definitely think being able to give yourself some room to breathe is
Yeah.
helpful.
And I want to add a point on there, because that's my degree. I went to school for behavioral science, and I think it's very important for us to get our rest,
Mhm.
and not just our rest, physical rest, but just mental rest as well. And you'll see, if you start to go on a journey to heal yourself,
Yeah.
how you might stop the thoughts, the negative thoughts or the rushing thoughts, but it'll still be present in your body. And there's a
Mhm.
book, as we talk about books, called The Body Keeps Score. And
Yes.
a lot of
Yeah.
yes. So that, and it's about just like the trauma and the things that we hold in our body, despite what we
Mhm.
might have in, around us in reality, but how we internalize things as well. And it could be self-sabotaging. It could be
Yeah.
self-sabotaging. It's very serious for all of us, especially in this, as she said, white supremacist hustling culture, where we all want to
Mhm.
just keep on and figure out the best way to make the next dollar, or figure out how to get to the next thing, when it's really like your body will literally tell you when you get tired, or you feel like I can't think, or you just rushing.
Yeah.
It's literally because that's how your body has been programmed. So
Mhm.
sending my energy out
Yeah.
to all my people, my overachievers.
Yes.
Slow down,
Yeah.
slow down, friend. Um,
Mhm.
and I guess, well, we could transition into you more so talking about, what do you offer? I know I've had down here, we talked about templates. We have our
Yep.
templates. We talk about
Yep.
ClickUp, all of the things. So I
Yes.
would like for
Yes.
you to share about those things that you offer or have.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to move out of experimentation phase with my business, which I feel like I've been experimenting for 3 years now. I'm tired. I'm like, okay, this is what I offer, and that's it. Period. I'm done.
It takes 5 to
Um,
build the foundation, so
I know, but I'm like 5 is too long. No, I appreciate that reminder because like it's okay if I don't have it all the way figured out right now. But right now, my 2025, I literally just sent my virtual assistant this. I was like, can you make sure the website only says these things? Um, so I offer ClickUp templates. So ClickUp is a project management tool. A lot of people use it for project management, but also use it for productivity. If your project management really is like a team thing, but there's aspects of it you can use as a
mhm,
person for productivity. That's how I kind of differentiate the two. Productivity is personal, project management is team. And so ClickUp, I have a business template that helps you organize everything in your business. It's so good. It's what I use. It's what a lot of my past clients and even current clients, I just like give that to them. So it organizes your marketing, your clients, your sales, your operations, your to-dos, and all in one space, and makes it just really easy to get things done. So that's like it comes with a, um, what's it called? A video walkthrough so that you can know how to use it completely. So that's that. And then the other offer I'll be talking a lot about in 2025 is VIP days. I love a VIP day. It's just like a mini project, right? Like a start, a stop, in, out, we're done.
mhm,
And you get so much done in one day. And so those VIP days really could be around a project. We can build a project plan together, or it could be around your project management tool where we can build that out and get that all set up, pulling in all your tasks, pulling in all your clients, and everything like that. So those are going to be my two offers into 2025. I do have like retainer project management clients, but that's time intensive, and I'm only one person right now. Maybe there'll be an agency in the future. We'll see.
mhm.
But
Yes.
yes, but right now I am not taking on any more project management clients, retainer clients, because I'm like, I also homeschool and have two kids, so I need some space
You live
to
in a
do all
real
the other things. I have a real life.
life. I love that. I love that. So,
Yeah.
this is wrapping us up. Can you let us know where we could see you growing from here?
Yeah. So I shared the 2025 vision. Honestly, I'm still working on what the full vision is, but build then fly really is my goal. 2025 is to like get clear on everything, solidify everything so that I can spend more time with my family. So
Yeah.
I hope that you all see me like consistently showing up on Instagram is where I typically
She's
show up.
very consistent. She's very I
um,
get on my phone, I say, "Look at you."
I just It's honestly, I just picked one platform and I was like, I'm gonna go. I told you, like, do the challenges, go
Mhm,
hard on that platform. And I'm way less consistent now than I was before, or way less frequent, I should say, not
mhm.
consistent. I'm way less frequent than I have been in the past, but it brings in clients, so we'll keep doing
Yeah.
it.
Well, thank you so
Yeah.
much for joining me today.
Yes. Thank
I'm pretty sure a
you.
lot of people will benefit from this conversation. I've benefited from this conversation already. I'm ready to get my book so I can fail forward and
Yes,
do
it's a
some more.
great.
I'm very excited and very grateful that we were able to do this. And
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm glad we got to do this, and I really appreciate you inviting me.
yeah. All right, keep growing, friends.